Hello, everybody, and welcome to Bright Founders Talk at Temy. Temy is an international software development company that designs, builds, and delivers software for sustainable businesses and promising startups. Welcome to our podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring stories of entrepreneurs and experts in the software development industry. Each week, we interview successful leaders who share their unique journeys and valuable insights. I'm your host, Barry, and today we are lucky enough to have an amazing guest joining us, Vincent Aurez, co-founder and CEO at Figen AI. Hello, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Hello, Barry.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us today. We have had a lovely chat just before the podcast about your experiences in England and Bradford. So before we start talking a little bit more in depth, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and the company that you work at?
Sure. Thanks for having me today. My journey began into the diplomatic relation between France and other countries. I used to like, and I still like, tools that enable transformation. And so diplomatic relation was one of a kind of a way of transforming relations. And then I discovered finance, which was enabling things to be built. So I became a partner into a real estate asset management firm, and we built first of a kind real estate funds, that transform some projects, some cities. And then ChatGPT came, and I discovered one other thing that could really change the way not only finance is doing, but how people invest into finance. And so during some years, I found the right partner, and I co-founded Fijen AI 1 year ago to transform how wealth management is done and how transparent finance can be based on a lot of data that AI enables to link all together.
Was being like a co-founder or a CEO, was that something that you wanted to do when you were younger, or was it something that actually you just happened to stumble across?
I really stumbled across. Actually, I was not really happy with all the tools that were being built in the age of AI. And so I was really mad of not having the tool I'm creating now. And so that's the reason I created my company. I don't have any background experience into entrepreneurship. I did launch a company some years ago, but a consulting one. And so building a product is really another topic. And so I really like it because I'm really angry at wealth management not having AI.
So what does Figen actually do? Could you just tell us like very simply what it does for those who
Sure.
don't understand?
So it's a platform of AI assistance for finance professionals, wealth managers. What it is actually doing, it is saving time for them on each part of their day. So the first part is you are a wealth manager, Barry, and I'm your client. I want to invest into a topic, for example, to invest into defense industry in Europe. A topic, but you don't know exactly which fund could really be allocated to my profile. Then you ask Figen, and Figen selects all the right funds that ChatGPT does not have access to because it's within market data, which are not public data. And then we select, and Fijen AI selects and provides you a real snapshot of what you can provide it to me. So here we help to have better decisions and to be more aligned between the clients, the wealth advisor, and the market data. This is one example of what we're doing.
So with Figen AI, like how do you ensure that the AI remains like both powerful and transparent, especially for like high network wealth professionals?
So indeed, we are into a regulated territory, a regulated sector. And what we are seeing now is that we really need a mix of classical traditional tech, which can be auditable, which can be traceable, and which can be compliant to, as well as AI for natural interactions. So we are using AI to interpret the language of the user, of the documents is providing to us, but then you've got a mix of classic tech and AI.
Let's imagine that your company isn't perfect and that everything has not been amazing. What would you say has been the biggest challenge in building Figen AI?
Well, I scratch my head because, of course, everything is amazing, but no, of course, we have a lot of challenges, but which are good ones. The first one, which was the hardest, finding the right partner. It took me 2 years. I actually went to several countries to find the right one. You've got a lot of Frenchies in other countries doing AI, so I look on them. And actually, you've got some profiles which are really different. You've got the deep researcher, really good at AI, really good at designing new LLM, but then he's not the best businessman. And so maybe he cannot understand that the vision is about applicative AI, because you've got to have frontier labs, but then our company is really doing the last part, the application layer. So finding the right partner was actually a tough challenge. And I really liked, of course, the one I finally seen. His name is Nicolas, and he has this tech background. So he's not like only an AI guy. So that was the toughest challenge. Of course, I can talk about big companies in France and their willingness of innovation, but you understand my point. We have some challenges, but until now, so far so good. We have a really huge growth. We achieved 1,000 B2B consumers in a 1 year period. And so we are reaching, some key milestones while being bootstrapped.
Mm.
And so right now, this is our first talk to launch into other countries. So I'm glad.
Perfect. I'm glad that we can be the platform that helps you spring step into the international environment. You mentioned there it took a couple of years to kind of get the right base to build from. Networking, like how have you found networking? Is it something like very important in the early stage of the company? And is it ever not important?
I don't think it is never not important for our industry, because you've got to have a certain amount of trust for using the POC, the POC, the MVP, and the product finally. So first, you have to have a network, but then you don't have to have a large network. Actually, what you need is to have a very good product. And if you have this amount of trust and you have a good product, then you can really grow. So we had a network because I was working into the finance industry for some years, and so hopefully some guys trusted me, and so they really partner with us, to launch the product in France. But then the question is how to launch and how to scale in other countries, because
Mm.
my network in the UK is not that good, and my network in Spain also. So I think maybe I will need a different answer in some month after some new challenges about finding the good networks in other countries. But I really think if you have to select one, I prefer to spend time on building the right product for the right customer than building the network, because in the end, the network is not buying with credit cards. It's
Mm.
the because of the product, not because of the network in the end.
What would you say are the biggest misconceptions about AI, especially in relation to like quantitative modeling or structured projects?
There are actually a lot. The first one, I think the biggest one, is about is AI going to redefine everything for B2C relations? Of course, it is going to replace some of the things, but then I don't think, for example, wealth managers are going to be totally replaced by AI. And we are seeing that more and more because as other technological revolutions, you've got finance professionals adopting the right tools and bringing new expertise or new kind of experience to their customers. So I think the first biggest misconception is that it's going to change everything. It is going to change a lot of things, but you still need a basic structure of a relation between one customer and one guy who is trusted. This is a first part. And then about quantitative modeling, but you can bring also knowledge. This is happening into the finance industry as well as in other sectors. From the Go game, with AlphaGo, now we know that the human knowledge will not be our key advantage compared to tools such as AI. So I think the other misconception is that in the end, you will have analysts human analysts which are better than tools, and not only for the data, but maybe also for the interpretation of a lot of data. And we have seen that before ChatGPT, of course, but then we are now seeing it for everybody.
So anyone who watches this podcast will know that I love AI, and I've been about a bit of a journey myself in terms of my knowledge about AI. When you are approached by stakeholders, are stakeholders sometimes unrealistic about the needs or the ability of AI to help them, or are they quite pragmatic and really know about some of the limitations that AI has currently?
We are seeing a huge change of that. If I compare the first meetings I had in January of this year compared to now, November, I really see a big change because they've used AI, they've seen the exponential growth of LLMs, and they're actually testing also some products into their companies. So I think the trend is that you've got a new kind of education going on into the finance industry, at least, seeing the limitation of it, seeing the risks too, and seeing the advantages. I think the biggest lack of knowledge until now, it's actually projecting ourselves into GPT-6, GPT-7, and Gemini 4. I think this is the biggest challenge because right now they see the limitation now, but as they used to saw the limitation in January, but then the limitation of January are not the same right now because the LLMs are really improving. So I think the biggest misconception is about what is an LLM doing in 6 months. An LLM with tools is not exactly what you expect from ChatGPT. And you are seeing that into the B2B sector.
So if we look at the future, so we've talked about some of the limitations. Let's do a bit of the other side. What are some of the great things or exciting things that you're really, really positive about? Maybe now, but also in the near-term future.
I think AI is the biggest empowerment tool that ever existed for a lot of professionals or a lot of people too. Of course, I'm talking about professionals because I'm seeing them launching the small companies, to become a financial advisor because they've got a taste for finance, a taste for a human relationship, and now until now they did not have really the right tools to compete with huge banks, for example, that have a huge network, a huge kind of services, etc. So I think the most exciting thing is that with the right AI tools, everybody can really be empowered to launch a big company and to launch a big idea and to launch it easily. So this is really exciting. And also, I'm applying that to our own company. We are only 10, and with 10 people, we are, I don't know how to say, but we are an English podcast. I don't think they will understand English, because they're mostly French. But we are crushing the biggest monopoly in France. They've got 90% of the market until now. They've got 500 people, and we are 10, and we already gained some percentage of the market share, like really rapidly. Of course, because we have a huge talent, but also I must say that we have a Cloud Code, we have Cursor, and these are the cheat codes of our team. And I think AI is really enabling small teams, such as AI tech companies, to think of an idea, think of a software, and actually having it in a few weeks or few months. And so we hear that a lot. The imagination is the limitation. I think that's totally true. Even if a regulated sector, we know the rules, so that's perfect because you have constraints. And since you have constraints, if you have a big idea about, for example, providing wealth management knowledge to everybody before their first meeting to a banker, well, you can do that. Fiscal laws are public in all the countries we are going. You can find the laws on internet, and so you can train an AI to know that, and then you can really provide new kind of features that were not even thinkable some years ago.
So first of all, congratulations on crushing it in France. And let's hope the rival company isn't watching this podcast, because if they are, they now know who's stealing their customers. Um, so keep a watch out for that. So good news. I'm an international investor. I'm really interested and excited by what you've said today, and I'd like to join up. How do you go through the first stages? How do I, now I'm interested in your product, know that your company is right for me?
I think we should have a talk. And so please write to us, contact at figenai.com. You write to us, and then we answer. We listen to you first, because if you're an intentional investor, you have got key challenges. You already have some wealth. So we need to understand. And then we show you, our use cases, what we already deployed for investors, for asset management, for wealth advisors, and then you can select. We actually have like a catalog of AI assistants that we can deploy easily, and that's it.
Perfect, lovely, thank you. Now, if we're looking at the broader market, are there any trends in like fintech or AI-driven finance that you think your company might be very interested in if you're not doing them now already?
I think a big trend. So we've got two ways. One trend which I found not really exciting. I will tell it, but this is actually a huge trend. Is about putting AI in already existing softwares. So, in other words, putting a chatbot into your product. I think this is good, for some products, of course. But what is really exciting is what we call AI native products. This is a new way of doing a product. And I think the biggest example for us is a Cursor, or is Cloud Code. Why? Because they really think about AI everywhere, AI linking every tool. And so the new niche trend, which is quite big, but more niche, is about how we can design new kind of SaaS, new kind of software based on AI. And so one good example of that, until now, tools were not proactive. You arrived at your computer, you open Word, Gmail, etc. Now with AI, you can really experience a new kind of software that understands you before you even, think about your first email, because they already get all your emails, analyze them, and really assisted you into your business relation, for example. So I think the next wave, the next trend, really be about creating new kind of features and new kind of user experience that were not there before.
And if we're looking at the market now, so we're talking about things that you really like, maybe like not particularly excited about, but are becoming prevalent. If you could click your fingers now and solve one problem, what would it be?
I think the first one would be to make administrative tasks going to 0% of their time. I think this is really good to have it. Like, you need rules, especially into a sector like finance and wealth management, but you don't actually need humans to do that. You need the rules and you need to apply to them, but you don't need humans to do them. So if I click my finger, I would love that everybody gets someone just listening to them, providing the best assistance they can get, and not making them pay hours of filling forms for administrative rules.
One of the questions that I was wanting to ask you a little bit earlier in the podcast, you mentioned imagination. Are you an imaginative person? Are you the flair? Are you the creative vision in your company? Or are you more of a pragmatic, rules-based person when it comes to leading?
I think I'm much more a poetic, romantic guy, which is good for some things. Also, I need a balance, and my partner is the balance. So, in the end, you've got imagination, but you need a hard line of codes. And so I think I'm much more on the poetic, romantic side of imagination. I wrote poetry, and so I really like metaphors of creating new worlds. I think this is really a powerful thing in the age of AI, but at the same time, you need a balance.
Mm.
Of course, my partner, co-founder, is imaginative too, but he's really balancing it, and I think that's great.
It's nice to have that counterbalance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you might go off in directions that the company really don't want you to go off in. So, just as we are coming slightly towards the end, I just want to ask you another question in terms of advice that you would give to other people. So, you have been on this journey now, and it has been a very successful journey for you. Congratulations again on that. But if there are other people out there watching, thinking, do you know what, I would like to get into this business, maybe a future competitor, what advice would you give to them?
My first advice would be there is space for everybody. I mean, there are so many large companies to crush, and so like don't hesitate. Even if you're a competitor, just reach to us. You know, if you're another country, we would love to partner. 10 people will maybe not be enough to address the whole Europe and then other continents. So really reach to other people. If we have the same idea, maybe we can partner. Second advice would be launch and don't wait for that because there's so many things happening. You know, every week you've got a new thing to be built. And that's great because you're really building the future of what is a software. And I think this is really useful to be into this dynamic right now because you really think about what was a software and what will be a software because you are now in the mud. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So you did mention like maybe like 10 isn't enough and you're looking to develop, upscale, and grow the company. I'm assuming international applicants are welcome. What kind of qualities are you looking for people who have the mindset to join your company?
The first one is agency, so the capacity to be proactive, to launch, to answer, to understand that Bright Thunder Talk, for example, was answered by Simran. She's an Indian. She came into France in 6 months. She's yes, doing a master degree. She's not even speaking French, but she's got some crazy skills, and she understood the opportunity of going into podcast, for example. So this is what good thing is that we are not expecting like the diplomas. We are actually not even looking at that. What we are looking is the achievements, and what we are looking is the capacity to launch something, to not wait, and of course to be able also to face some challenges and just be tough and work on that. So what we are looking for, it's more creative guy or women, of course, and then people who can launch new ideas and have this willingness to actually build.
Amazing, Vincent. I just want to thank you so much again for taking the time to talk with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. That was Vincent Aurez, co founder and CEO at Figen AI.